Hi, and welcome to the American Diversity Report podcasts, where we interview diverse innovators and wonderful change makers. I'm Deborah Levine, your host and editor-in-chief of the American Diversity Report. And with me today is Fiona Citkin. She was originally a professional educator from Ukraine, but came to America as a Fulbright scholar studying languages and culture. She has 2 doctorates, speaks 3 languages, and has published several books, one of them an award-winning Transformational Diversity. For her book, How They Made It in America, she has interviewed 100 immigrant women and profiled 18 of them. Welcome, Fiona.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, Deborah.
A pleasure. So tell us what inspired you to write this book about these immigrant women.
Talking about inspiration, I should say there are 3 answers to this question. First, I am inspired by strong women. I've always been fascinated by the fair sex, not the weaker sex. And I learned that successful fair sex are women who are happy. Others are unhappy with their jump potential because realizing one's potential is more tangible than, say, a fleeting orgasm because it stays with you. So this motivated me to do something to help more women be happy by having a blueprint to replicate the success of the best women role models. My second inspiration was the challenge to fill in the gap in the field social studies. My 18 immigrant women book subjects belong to a special subset of the American women who had never before been interviewed and viewed as a group. And I found it inspiring as well as challenging. And the third is a huge inspiration to analyze and describe your own kind. I belong, you see, with my book subjects. We are social twins, wearing different cultural makeups, but possessing a common denominator, the need to integrate and prove our words. And it motivated me. Thank you.
How wonderful for you to have this opportunity. Will you tell us a little bit about the achievements of these people and what is inspirational about them?
Yeah, it was inspirational to speak with each of them.
And I think I need to add for our audience that I was among them. I was one of them.
Yes, one of the best.
It was an honor to do it. And I know how hard you worked on getting this book out and these stories out. It was not an easy task.
No, it wasn't. It was not easy for anybody to fill out my extensive questionnaire. Now I realized how long it was, and then also do the interview telephonically or face-to-face. It was not easy as well because I was not asking the easy questions. Thank you for making it, Deborah.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely. So tell us, as you go through these interviews, what was the number one, the top on the list of values that was remarkable about them?
I was often asked what is common among all the women who you profile. What are the common denominators? And I singled out analytically 7 success values which brought them to the top. And then I thought and decided that character building is the top of the list. it's the most important, the essential quality that they had. And why I put it on top? Because it worked for me. Character building is the core, and it needs continuing work. The desire to be on top is not enough. You need grit to put yourself in challenging situations and overcome difficulties. Just as you cannot build muscle just watching Arnold Schwarzenegger train. So those who fear risk and hardship need not apply. They cannot be immigrants or self-made persons for that matter. And let me add that the motto of all character builders is, there's no elevator to success. You must take the stairs.
Oh, I love it. Oh, my goodness. What were some of the other 7 qualities that you brought out in your book?
Well, just to enumerate, the number 2 is the American mindset. We need to acquire and adapt American mindset. The number 3, I believe, is emotional intelligence. Then come communication skills, American style, and creativity. Then comes strategic thinking. Inclusive leadership is a must. And of course, the last but not the least is perseverance.
Ah, perseverance, yes.
Yeah, where are we without it, huh?
Well, we all run into major roadblocks, for sure. And if we don't persevere, we're stuck.
Right.
So in your book, you have 18 different women. Can you tell us what countries they're from originally?
Oh, of all countries. You know, as a diversity culturalist, I was seeking diverse women, you know, for the same reason. They should be diverse. They should come from all continents, be of all walks of life, of all nationalities as possible. And of course, you cannot take everybody. So, but I did try. I did try.
Well, I know you're from Ukraine.
I am.
You are. And you had others from Ukraine and from Eastern Europe?
Not from Ukraine. I think me is enough. But I have Ivana Trump from Czechoslovakia.
Ah.
And I have Elena Gorokova from St. Petersburg, Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I also have one lady from Croatia.
Indeed.
Yes, yes. Well, it is not Eastern Europe, it is Southern Europe, but still, you know.
So they have, you have these people from all over the world that you talk to.
Yes, and Maya Strela Migoti from Croatia is practically not an immigrant. She came as a part of her company. Her company sent her here.
Ah, I see.
The company sent her here as a hardworking immigrant. She is career expatriate, and her company bought something in California, and they already had one company for California. They sent her to do the impossible, to bring 2 different companies together. A hell of a work, but she made it.
I'm sure she did. And how did you find out about her and the others? How did you find these women?
By chance, of course, internet helps, you know, Google helps. And then I asked my LinkedIn contacts, who could you recommend? These are my criteria. And indeed, some of them sent me, you know, names and telephone numbers and emails and say, I know this person, you know, myself for years, and I do recommend. So some came from my contacts of LinkedIn. The others I just pulled out and then knocked at all the doors. And some doors would open, you know, Deborah, when you knock hard enough or long enough.
So when these women came to America from all these different continents and countries, they certainly had their native culture, you know, embedded in their personalities.
Sure.
And they had to adjust to being here in America. What did they do, and how was their native culture both helpful and a challenge?
You know, you can see a native culture both as a liability and an asset. And sometimes it is a liability, and sometimes it is an asset. Sometimes it helps you, sometimes it hurts you. And I know this very well. I did a lot of intercultural training. So it was one of my questions: how did your culture help you or hurt you? And Isabella Allende from Chile, a famous, world-famous writer, gave an interesting answer to this question, by the way. She thinks that her cultural assets are biculturalism, bilingualism, and the sense of community and family. So as an asset, she used her, you know, sense of family to put together her family here in this country. And indeed, it helped her to be a productive writer and globally recognized writer, right? Thus, culture is an asset. Now, take a culture as a liability. Being a workaholic, which Isabella Allende is, runs in the family of Isabel. It's in their culture. But in her first culture of immigration, Venezuela, it is a hedonistic society, Venezuela, if you heard about it. Isabel's family, and especially Isabel, felt like aliens there. However, her second culture of immigration, the United States, has a hard work ethic. So Isabel naturally fit in. So liability in Venezuela turned into asset in the United States. You know, yeah. And I can add that Isabel is still speaking English as an with an accent. And speaking English with an accent is kind of a cultural trait, because you cannot change your accent after puberty, they say. So in the United States, she is very self-conscious about it and thinks that it is a liability. And so do I, by the way.
How is it a liability? What have you run into with language and accents?
You know, people say that, no, this is not a liability. It is your distinctive feature. It is so nice. I remember you because of your accent, and so on and so forth. But then when you speak with some new people, they are always asking you, what country are you from? And I never made anything of it. But one diversity professional at his inspirational talk told to his audience that this is humiliating. When you are asking somebody, what country are you from? It shows that you recognize this person as a foreigner. I was surprised. I never thought that this is humiliating me, but people are different, you know. People are different.
Yes, I understand. Well, when you wrote this book, not only did you interview these women, but you also brought out the traits that made them successful, and you have put together this book is a way to help others be successful too, not just in inspiration, but you have strategies that you've put out, correct?
Right. And, you know, in a way, strategies and success values are synonyms here.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to call it strategies because it's such a banality to talk about strategies. Everybody and his mother talk about strategies, you know. So I prefer to call it success values.
Okay.
What do you value? What is it that you should develop, you know, inside you, you know? And I took it seriously. The whole second part of the book consists of different case studies, several case studies under each of the success values. Why did I do it? To help those who are coaching people, group coaching or individual coaching. You have something in mind, you go to those case studies, pull it out, you know, like a magic trick, and use it.
Mm-hmm.
I used such similar case studies from the other books, and I think that mine would help other trainers and coaches as well. Welcome to the book, haha.
Thank you. I'm sure that our audience will appreciate that. Many of them do coach and train others who are new to America, and many of them
Thank you.
travel elsewhere will need to understand different cultures as they do so. Just out of curiosity, you talk a great deal about promoting inclusivity in our country, in America. And we have times right now that are somewhat challenging in terms of inclusivity and unity.
Right.
Yes. What is your view of immigrants, especially immigrant women, in these times? What should they be thinking and doing?
I don't give recipes what you should be thinking and doing, or anybody else for this matter. I think that on my part, describing immigrant women's contributions to America's well-being and culture by itself, per se, promotes inclusivity and unity of our diverse nation. One nation under God, however you look at it. Many people could benefit from the accumulated strategies and condensed know-how of top immigrant women because they made it from scratch. They started practically from scratch and made it to the top. And many people, you know, can benefit from multiple how-to tips on their way to success in the US. And not only immigrants and not only women, just people starting their lives, people going to other American region, and every region has its own culture, right? So you start from scratch in a new city, in a new company. You need the how-to tips, how to overcome, what to seek in yourself, what to grow in yourself, what your goals should be. And then I believe my book can help to go up in life. Thank you for asking the question, Deborah.
Well, I know that you are have been working so long in the area of diversity and inclusion as well as immigration, and it's beautiful to watch it blossom in this book. And I know that our audience will be eager to read it and let the lessons sink in as they move forward. Is there anything else that you'd like to add for our audience that we haven't mentioned yet?
Well, I want to tell the audience, our audience, that if they want to buy and gift How They Made It in America book to those they love and want to help, they may want to go to their favorite Barnes & Noble store and find it there, or go to Amazon or to my own book website, FionaCitkin.com, https://FionaCitkin.com, and click on the bookstore page, and then get this book with my autograph. It will be my pleasure to send it. Thank you for listening.
Well, thank you, Fiona, for all that you do and have done. When you came to Chattanooga to visit, and I had the opportunity to meet you in person, I can't tell you what a pleasure it was. And I hope you'll come back soon and visit. And if not, perhaps we can have a follow-up podcast later this year as we talk about how things are going with you and immigrant women, and just get an update.
Yeah, thank you. Good idea.
All right. So thank you, audience, for tuning in today to hear Fiona Citkin talk about women immigrants in America and her book, How They Made It in America. And thank you, Fiona, for being with us today and sharing all this great information.
You're welcome, Deborah. Stay well.
Thank you.